Budget policy statement taking place this afternoon. We continue with our build-up, and we're joined now by in our parliamentary studios by Thulani Tshefuta of the convener, excuse me, the convener at NEDLAC, representing the community constituencies. Thulani, thank you very much indeed for your time. It's a big day for South Africans, but it's a big day for Tita Mboweni, isn't it? What's your expectations?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to all the SABC viewers. Well, we see the budget as an opportunity, really, that the new minister can use to position South Africa in an expedited trajectory for attracting investments and triggering economic growth. We are glad by the fact that the minister, new as he is, he will be presenting the medium-term budget policy statement. Our joy with that is specifically informed by the fact that it shows the resilience of our institutions of democracy, that our systems do not depend on individuals. They can thrive whether individuals are there or not. So there is entrenched planning. More than that, we expect that the budget will be used and positioned as a leverage for investments, for growth. It must be used to explain in real terms how will the stimulus that was announced by the president find expression in the implementation of the entirety of government. Yeah. And so the budget, we expect that will also be used to build confidence as we enter the upcoming investment conference.
Yeah, I guess prioritizing Cyril Ramaphosa's fiscal consolidation plan will be key, isn't it? But what are some of the hot button issues that your constituency wants the president or the finance minister to mention in this budget?
Well, we will continue to raise the issue about the rise in VAT, which we think that is a glaring mistake that we should have never made in the beginning. And more than that, now that it is upon us, we will continue to expect that there will be engagements that zero rate some of the products. We are happy that after the announcement of the VAT increment, we had an engagement with the Minister of Finance, former Minister of Finance at NEDLAC, and we were very sharp on raising what should be some of the items that should be zero rated, which in our negotiations now have come to pass that those items are actually included in the zero rating. We expect that the budget itself should not compromise expenditure or social expenditure in education and health, because we believe that education and health go hand in hand with economic growth, improving the prospects of Human Development Index in South Africa. We also expect that the budget, the minister will use the budget to bring about discipline in the government spending.
Do you think it's going to be a bit of a balancing act between spending versus savings?
Well, it has to be. I mean, that's the essence of budget. The difference between the public sector and the private sector is that the public sector does not only look into the budget that it has, it looks into the needs of the people and then say, how do we use the limited resources to fulfill that need? And so that's what the budget is intended to do. So more than anything else, government must not hold back from spending as a trigger for economic activity. We can't expect that expenditure will come from individuals and corporations and save government. Government must equally spend, but that expenditure must be jealously guarded, that it does not end in the pockets of individuals, that it does not end up lining the pockets of those who are involved in the procurement processes. As we know that the popular adage goes that corruption is the name, procurement is the game. And so what we are arguing for is that we must see increased expenditure from the side of government as a trigger for economic activity, such that there is more flow of resources and money in the economy.
What about the public wage bill, Thulani? Would you want the minister to touch on that, about a reduction of the public wage bill?
Well, there has to be scientific processes that are followed in determining this claim on the bloating of the public service. And indications are that when we talk about bloating, yes, we can all agree about the size of our national executive. But what should government do is that we should not seek for financial solutions to non-financial problems. Government must do all it takes to make sure that the morale of the public servants is boosted. Government must not seek, in the spirit of the job summit that we come from, we argued that we should put a moratorium in all job losses, both from the public and the private sectors. And so in that spirit, we call on government to make sure that the existing human resource in government is best utilized to deliver quality services and products that are so much needed by our communities, without necessarily saying, how do we get rid of some of the people that are in the employ of the public sector? We actually believe they should just be used better.
Do you not think it should be trimmed a bit in terms of the public service wage bill?
May you say that again?
In terms of the public wage bill, do you not agree that it should be trimmed?
Look, that is not a determination that you just wake up and make, that we have too many employees. For example, I'm one of those who believe that provinces are a layer of government that if I had it my way, I would just cut out, have the national government and municipalities. And in that way, that would be one of the ways in which we reduce spending money on administration. As a matter of principle, what we should indicate is that in as far as government expenditure is concerned, the ratio of what goes to wages compared to what goes into service delivery, those should not be comparable. The largest bulk of resources must go into delivering the actual services. And the wage bill should only be a portion thereof. At this stage, we are not in any position that suggests that there are too many people that are employed in each of the departments. To the contrary, by the way, we get reports that we need more in the health sector so that we're able to deliver the noble goals of the NHI through community-based health workers. Indications are that the high levels of crime are also as a result of the fact that the ratio of police to communities has remained the same when population has grown. The population of police has not increased. And so those are some of the public sector jobs, which in our earlier assertion, we truly believe that there has to be proper rationalization of how best do we use the existing resources, that is human resources, to best serve the public service and deliver the products and services that are needed by communities.
Thulani, what about the critical social issues such as unemployment, such as education, such as land reform? What do you want the minister to say about that?
Our society must spare no effort in making all the necessary investments we need to make in education. Education can empower young people with knowledge and skills that they need to access the labor market. Our society must make sure that our investments in education do not go into waste. The little that we invest in education must later on find expression by the very same caliber or cadre of young people who acquire education, must actually not go to waste through being unemployed graduates. They must be all efforts to make sure that those who graduate from our education system, in all its variations, from high schools, from TVET colleges, universities of technology and universities, there must be mechanisms to make sure that we provide them with school-to-work type programs that smooth the transition from school to work. We must make sure that all those who have some level of education actually get to be placed in work-integrated learning such that they acquire the necessary experience to access the labor market. We believe that if South Africa were to deal with the plight of youth unemployment, we would be more than half through the solution of addressing unemployment in South Africa. Youth unemployment is unacceptably very, very high.
Thulani, Tito Mboweni has a big job on his hands, so we'll find out more at 2 o'clock. Thank you very much indeed for your time as well as your insight. That was Thulani Tshefuta, the convener at NEDLAC. Thank you very much indeed for your time.